Rachel and I'm here today to talk about my reading goals for 2023. I haven't yet filmed my best books of 2022, however, this is a little bit of a quicker video. I'm like finishing off the Lego I was doing last night and feeling pretty chill, so like a nice chat about books sounds like more fun than an in-depth how did I find these. So we're currently doing the Hospital Wing Harry Potter Lego that I got for Christmas. We have already been doing it last night, so we're up to this bit, so the beds are done and we have some characters, and then I think it's going to be the clock bit at the top that we're doing soon. Now, one thing to say about my reading goals for this year is that there aren't a ton of them, and that is because I didn't even look at my reading goals from last year. I haven't even rewatched the video to know what my reading goals are, to know what I failed at, but I can tell you that I will have failed because I never looked at it again, which is not ideal really. So for my goals this year, I wanted to make it a little bit more chill and a little bit more just like, oh, read what you read and there's a little bit of goals in there sort of thing. And that's why there's not a ton of goals. My first goal is my reading goal on Goodreads, which I've set to 50 again. I set it to 50 last year and I want to say I read either 53 or 56. So it was pretty much the perfect goal for me. My reading goal on Goodreads has been everywhere. I've set it as low as 12, I've set it at like 100, and I just find that 50 is a good middle ground for me because I'll always hit 50. So I feel good about myself, but I don't need the goal there to push me to read because I already want to read. So it's kind of just a thing where I like having the tracker page that I can go onto on Goodreads to actually look what books I read over the year. So I more do it for that, to be honest. And then my second reading goal this year was to read as my first book, which I'm already doing, so I'm very happy with myself, Novelist as a Vocation by Haruki Murakami. This is a book I got for Christmas. This year for me is very much about taking writing to another level for me. So in terms of like career wise. So I have had some things published before, but it's just like short stories in magazines and things. And I want to kind of take the next step, if that makes sense. And so I thought starting the year with a book about being a novelist was a good intentional step for my year. So yeah, I decided I wanted to read this first. I wanted it to be the first book I read this year, you know, set the tone for the year. And I've read the foreword and chapter 1 so far, and yeah, it's quite good. I feel like it has a really weird tone to it, but I don't know if it's because I've really not got into it yet, and maybe the tone will be different, if that makes sense, because at the minute it's a bit of a strange one. Then I have two goals that are not really specific, but they're not specific for a reason, so I want to give myself a bit of freedom. But they are to read 2 fantasy books and 2 classics. So I, number one, adore classics, like love classics, but they are something that it takes a lot of like active parts of your brain to read a classic in the way that you don't really need to do for like a contemporary romance, let's say. A lot of the times, especially because I read to wind down, I opt for the easier books. But if I look at like a list of my top 20 books of my life, I would think like probably over 50% would be classics because I really do enjoy them. I kind of want to get some classics this year because they are something that I really enjoy, and I feel like that's something that was missing this year. But I don't want to put a big goal on it and stress myself out, so I'm thinking 2 is manageable, doable. I'd be happy if I read 2. And then a similar thing with fantasy. So I think kind of fantasy I like is epic fantasy, but the books are always like 1,000 pages and I am lazy and so I don't read them. It annoys me because I do really enjoy fantasy. So I think this year, just read 2. Just 2. That's it. Obviously, I've not put a lot of pressure on my reading in terms of like 50 books is an easy goal for me to hit. So I've done that as well in the hopes that I will not worry as much about how long books are and tackle the books I want to read more. We're gonna see how that goes. Quite excited about that because there are a few fantasy books where I really want to read them, so I want to try and get myself back into the habit of reading fantasy books. And then my other goals are all a list of books, so it's basically like a TBR for the year, and they are all books that I have basically been saying I want to read for like a year maybe. And they've actually been in the flat as well. They're not books that are at mum and dad, so I don't have access to. They are all here in this flat and I can read them if I want to, and I don't and it's my fault. So I was like, okay, we're going to make a big list of them and we're going to read them. So first was Novelist's Vocation, which obviously I've already spoke about, wanting to be my first book of the year, and I've started it, so I'm happy with that. The next book we have is one that I was so excited for when I got it, and it is Habibi by Craig Thompson. It's this massive graphic novel. It is literally ginormous. I think that's what puts me off, because I like to read a graphic novel in one sitting, and I feel like I don't think I could do this in one sitting, and so I get put off reading it because of that. However, I'm so excited for it. It's one that I wanted to read for ages, and then I never thought I would, because I never thought I'd buy it because it was always so expensive. And then I found it in a charity bookshop, which you never ever find graphic novels in a charity bookshop, so I was so happy. I think I found it in the summer, not this year anymore, but within the last year. I really wanted to read it, but I just didn't get around to it. So that is a graphic novel I really want to read this year. I don't normally put graphic novels on my TBR list because I have no issue reading graphic novels. Like, I really enjoy them. But just that one is huge. And so, yeah, I'm finding it hard to motivate myself to get to it. And then we've got another one that I'm embarrassed I've not read yet, which is Anyway the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. I love this series. I love Carry On. I loved Wayward Son. I was so excited for this to come out. I remember it being on my anticipated releases and me fangirling over it. And then the issue was, I need to reread the other books before I read this one, and I haven't got around to it. What I have done is I already had Carry On my Audible account because I'd reread it the last time when Wayward Son came out. So I decided to also get Wayward Son on Audible the other day so that I can just reread both of them, blast through them on audiobook, and then get straight to that one. So hopefully, because I've made a little bit of a plan for that one, I'll actually read it, because I hope I do. I really, really do, because I love Baz and Simon and that whole thing that's going on in there, and I really want to get back to it. And then in a similar vein, I have The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I absolutely adore They Both Die at the End. This doesn't follow the same characters, but it follows the first people who got the call from Deathcast, which is the people that ring and say that you're going to die in the morning in They Both Die at the End. So these are the first ones to encounter that whole casting situation. It's a book that I have, again, had for ages, came out at a similar time, and I've just not got to, and that annoys me. It annoys me when they just end up on my shelf for ages. So next on my list is a book that I've actually already started, and it is in danger of me having to restart it if I don't pick it up again soon, which would be annoying because I've already been reading it and I was enjoying it as well. So it is Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is my second Taylor Jenkins Reid after Evelyn Hugo, which I really, really enjoyed. And that's a book that's kind of, even though I gave it 4 stars, it's stuck with me. And so I was really excited for this. And also, if you don't know, I'm a lover of tennis. I very, very much enjoy tennis. And so when I heard about this book and the premise, I was very, very excited. So I did start reading it and I was really, really enjoying it. And I got to page 66 and then I just stopped because that's what I do. I can't do the DNFing thing. When people talk about DNFing, I just do it for a completely different reason of, it's not that I don't enjoy the book, it's just that I'm just shit and I can't make myself just sit and finish it for some reason, no matter how much I'm enjoying it, and it really bothers me. That's been an issue with Carrie Soto. I want it to not be an issue and I want to get back to it because I was really enjoying it. Sorry, just a bit of important Lego science going on. Oh, cute! Look at that. I like that. Okay, next we have Luster by Raven Lilani. This has again been on the list, been on the TBRs, it's had its time and I still not picked it up. So excited for this. I think it sounds amazing, but I've not read it again. So then we've got another one that I have started and read 37 pages of, was absolutely adoring. I remember that I was really enjoying it, and then I put it down and didn't finish it. However, I put it down not realising that this stunning bookmark was in here. We're going to definitely be using that this year. And it is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is one of the most stunning book covers ever. I absolutely love it. This pale pink is the nicest shade of pink, and with this electric blue on it, I just love it. It's so much nicer than the other cover as well, the one that's like a girl crying. This is like the one to get if you was getting a copy of this book. I was adoring this book. I remember that I was really liking the writing style. I was intrigued by the plot. It was feeling like a Louise O'Neill kind of book, which obviously I'm a very big lover of Louise O'Neill, so I was really excited. And have we read it? No. We got to page 37 and then we stopped, and I don't know why, but that is the story of my life apparently. Next one is one I haven't already started. It is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. I was really intrigued by this book. I got it when it first came out, was very excited for it, everyone was talking about it, and I knew Bella Mackie from her other books. So she's written a book about running, which I have on my shelves and haven't read because, you know, that's my brand. I remember that I was really excited for it, and then everyone started talking about Bella Mackie, and I was like, oh yeah, the girl who wrote the running book. And I was like, no, that's not who it is. And obviously it is who it was, but people knew her for a very different thing. Small pause for the amount of noise that will be me opening this packet. So yeah, I was really excited for How to Kill Your Family, and I remember my sister-in-law coming round, and even she was like, oh my god, I've read that book, it's really, really good. And I was like, I know, I want to read it. I know it's going to be amazing. Next, we've got another book that I wanted straight away the minute it came out. I don't know why I insist on getting books the minute they come out, because it doesn't make me any more likely to read them. But it is Earthlings by Sia Kamarata. I was so excited about this book just for this like tiny cute little teddy that's on it. So cute. I read Convenience Store Woman, which is another book where I did not give that book 5 stars. It was not my favourite book. However, that book has really, really stayed with me, and now when I look back at it, I would say it's one of the best books I've read in recent years. The effect that it's had on me and the way that it's stuck with me, I've not had with many other books in my life. And I don't know why, because it's like there's just no plot there. It's so boring, really. Like on paper, it's just the most boring book ever. But it was amazing, and I was, oh my god, I loved it so much. And so when I seen that she had a new book out, I was like, okay, well, clearly I am enamoured with this woman's writing style, so I have to get the next one, book that she's releasing. She's released even another book. I think it's called Life Ceremony. She's released that now because I was listening to a podcast and they was talking about it. So it's definitely already come out, but I'm not allowed it. I'm not allowed to buy that book because I need to read Earthlings. And if I read Earthlings, then I can buy Life Ceremony, and that's fine. We've got 2 books left on the TBR list. The first one, oh my god, it's damaged and I hate it. There was a sticker on it and I couldn't get it off. I don't know why book places insist on putting stickers on books if they're not the easy peel ones. Like, it just annoys me. But it is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. Was very excited for this, as was the entire planet, because Stephen Chbosky does not release a lot. I don't know if he's got any other books apart from Perks of Being a Wallflower, but obviously the Perks of Being a Wallflower is amazing and took the world by storm. And I was really excited for this. It gave me like a Stephen King, The Girl Who Loves Tom Gordon kind of vibe. And then the last one I have is one that was on my birthday list because I really wanted to read it. It was anticipated for me. Again, didn't read it. And it is Girl Crush by Florence Given. So Florence Given is quite popular for, I think it's Women Don't Owe You Pretty that she wrote. I haven't read that. The reason that I was excited for this is it kept coming up on anticipated lesbian releases or anticipated LGBT plus releases. I can't remember specifically, but it was on those kind of lists, which a list that obviously I was very interested in as a gay woman. I was very excited for this, and it does sound amazing. The catchphrase of this video is, and then I didn't read it, and then I didn't pick it up. So we're going to change that this year, and we're going to go for all of these books that were my most anticipated books. Like, I have to read these, blah, blah, blah. If you don't read them this year, then maybe you have to get rid of them because they're clearly not that anticipated if you're not actually going to read them, Rachel. It's very annoying. They are all my reading goals. As I said, I've kept it pretty light in terms of the goals that I have this year, and I've done that on purpose because I don't want to put loads of pressure on my reading this year. I just want to have chill times, especially just, I'd rather put goals on myself of like having a reading day to myself once a month. Like, that'd be a great reading goal if I could do that. Maybe I'll incorporate that into my list. I don't know. I need to write this list up in my planner so that I actually pay attention to it this year. So there is a chance that that might be one that I put in there as well, because that is something that I would like to do. I've been enjoying the last 2 days because I've actually been reading before bed, because my wife's on early, so she's going to sleep quite early. But obviously I'm not in school at the minute, so I've just been reading in bed. It's like making me remember why I love reading and how I actually really like it as just a wind down, but I don't do that a lot because I'm always so tired. We'll see if we can make that happen this year, because that would be the ideal. But that is the end of my list. So if you would like to talk to me about any of these books, please do in the comments below. If you have read any of them, if you're hoping to read them this year, let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!